The church stood alone, a skeletal silhouette against the bruised twilight. It perched atop a hill, overlooking a valley draped in perpetual mist. A dirt road, barely a scar on the landscape, snaked its way towards it. The wind howled through the valley, a mournful symphony whispering through the gnarled branches of the ancient trees. The trees themselves seemed to lean towards the church, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching out to touch the crumbling stone. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. A strange stillness lingered beneath the wind's cry, a silence so profound it felt almost sentient. It was a place forgotten by time, shrouded in an eerie solitude that chilled the very marrow. Daniel Carter, a man with a thirst for forgotten lore and a compass that pointed towards trouble, spotted the church on his weathered map. Drawn by an insatiable curiosity, he steered his jeep down the overgrown path. He'd heard whispers in dusty antique stores, tales of strange rituals and unexplained events. The locals spoke of the church in hushed tones, their faces etched with a fear that ran deeper than superstition. The closer Daniel got, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. A shiver ran down his spine, a primal instinct warning him away, yet, like a moth drawn to a flickering flame, he pressed on. The old wooden door creaked open with a groan, revealing a cavernous space shrouded in shadows. The air inside was stale and cold, thick with the smell of incense and something else, something akin to decay. Dust-covered pews stretched back towards an altar shrouded in darkness. Stained glass windows, depicting scenes of biblical torment, cast fragmented rainbows across the floor. A low, guttural whisper seemed to emanate from the very walls, sending shivers down Daniel's spine. He took a hesitant step inside, his footsteps echoing in the unnerving silence. The hair on the back of his neck prickled with a sense of being watched, of being unwelcome. Emerging from the church, Daniel found himself face to face with a figure that seemed to materialize from the mist itself. A tall, gaunt man with eyes that glinted with an unsettling intensity. "You shouldn't be here," the man rasped, his voice like dry leaves rustling in the wind. Daniel, trying to maintain his composure, inquired about the history of the church. The man's face tightened, his gaze hardening. "Some things," he said slowly, "are best left buried." Before Daniel could press further, the man melted back into the mist, leaving him with a growing sense of unease. Days turned into weeks as Daniel found himself drawn back to the church, an invisible pull tugging at his curiosity. He spent his days exploring the surrounding woods, piecing together fragmented tales from the tight-lipped locals. He discovered a hidden chamber behind the altar, its entrance concealed by a tapestry depicting a scene of angelic beings casting down their brethren. The air within the chamber was heavy, thick with an almost palpable sense of dread. At the far end of the chamber lay a massive, intricately carved door. It was sealed with chains and padlocks, symbols of an ancient and unknown language etched into its surface. Despite his better judgment, Daniel felt an irresistible urge to open the door. He spent nights deciphering the strange symbols, his dreams haunted by visions of shadowy figures and whispered chants. He felt the weight of unseen eyes upon him, the ever-present sensation of being watched, judged. The silence of the valley seemed to amplify his every move, every breath. The line between curiosity and obsession blurred. As he neared the solution to the puzzle of the door, the locals grew even more distant, their fear palpable. They refused to meet his eyes, their silence speaking volumes. Finally, the moment arrived. With trembling hands, Daniel unlocked the final padlock. The chains fell away, their clang echoing in the stillness. The door creaked open, revealing a blinding light emanating from within. Daniel shielded his eyes, his heart pounding in his chest. As his vision adjusted, he saw it. A sight so terrifying, so profoundly disturbing, that it threatened to shatter his sanity. A swirling vortex of energy pulsed within the chamber, crackling with an otherworldly power. Within the vortex, Daniel saw glimpses of scenes that defied comprehension. He saw figures, their bodies contorted into impossible shapes, writhing in agony and ecstasy. He saw flashes of ancient rituals, blood sacrifices, and beings that could only be described as demonic. The air crackled with an energy that made his hair stand on end, a palpable sense of evil so intense it took his breath away. Overwhelmed by the sheer terror of the revelation, Daniel stumbled back. He slammed the door shut, the sound of its closing echoing in the sudden silence. He knew he should leave, flee this place and never look back. But a part of him, a dark seed of curiosity sown in the fertile ground of his fear, yearned to know more. As Daniel stood there, the weight of his discovery pressing down on him, he knew one thing for certain: he was trapped.